informal.
Okay, so I sent you guys all a note on where I think we are with budgets at this point in time, so, there's not I think supervisors, I think everything is in good position there, other than the salaries. Okay, so what I'm talking about here is everything outside of the purview of salaries and any type of an increase or cost of living adjustment. So I think the auditors are fine from, the supervisors are fine. We had a question on the auditors that I think, we're gonna make an adjustment to, Robin.
I already did it.
So let's take a look at that one.
Excuse me.
So you did all that, you moved Heidi to the supplemental? You
Yes,
broke those
she
three
has
out.
5% into the general basic and 95% of her salary is in the supplemental.
Okay, and that's what we talked about, so that sounds good. And then we also talked about the potential of moving up the budget for elections because of the potential for a special election for the county attorney's position.
But that wouldn't be this year, that'd be this current year,
Could be this current,
so that wouldn't affect the
affect
year.
this.
The current year, but a special election for the county attorney is August. We did our dates.
It would be in August,
It would be in August, but we have
Okay.
a primary in,
That was gonna be my next question is,
In
you backed into
June.
that.
wait, the first special election for the county attorney could be in August?
so if you appoint somebody,
We have to appoint somebody, let's not say if. State code says
I'm saying
after.
though, we're talking about the special election.
Right,
So, if you appoint somebody can still take the petition out and do the special.
correct.
But if anybody would think about it, to save the county some money, the appointment would take place and they would still be able to run on the June ballot. All they have to do is turn in paperwork. And then, again, they run again in November.
I understand what you're saying, I'm not sure that everyone
Elections are a little bit complicated.
looking for that position would probably follow that logic. But you're saying it would be in August, so it falls into this
His term was
timeline.
up anyway this year,
Correct,
so,
but that would have just been one election, now we're talking about the potential for an additional election. And
but
that
June,
timeframe.
June falls in this fiscal year, election.
If we have a signed petition for a special election, it's, the earliest it can be in August.
August.
Which is in the next fiscal year, which
Yeah,
goes
then
back to
we
what I
look at-
just said.
And it's gonna be more than $12,000. Because it's countywide.
Right.
Is there a good educated guess on what that cost would be?
Be the same cost as with the primary, and then same cost, but if it's the same cost, who knows if things have gone up, so, I mean,
Well,
again,
a good guess for your normal general election was $12,000 plus.
not a normal, election, it's more than that, it's like $20-some thousand.
But a primary and a special are very similar, or,
It is, it's still countywide. You're not looking at one district, it's countywide. So you have to open up all the polls.
Mhm.
Your PEOs you have to pay. You have to pay for the ballots, the printing of the ballots. You have to pay for the maintenance of the machines. You have to pay, I mean, there's a lot. Your early absentee voting, your postage for mailing out absentees.
Yeah,
The postage has gone up.
I think it would be short-sighted to not figure on a special election. I think that would be,
But that's not up to you, that's up to another person that's out there
no, it's
signing
not
that
up to me, but
position.
I'm just saying,
No, but
if
it's up to us from a
I'm
budget
throwing my
perspective.
dollar in that, it'll be on a,
it'll be, we better budget for it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think we-
exactly. So the estimate is, for an election is 20,000?
I would just guesstimate $20-some thousand. It could be more than that.
Alright,
I can't give you a definite.
well, we'll go with your estimate, $20,000 in addition to, cause the general election falls in there as well.
So if you just take what we have in our supplemental fund, you just take away $20,000 from it. What you're saying, because you haven't got it in here.
I got 17 there. Special.
So which one of these line items falls into that when you look at the budget?
Right.
There should be one that says special.
Under supplemental,
It's under supplemental. Elections are all underneath supplemental.
but you said there's one that says special,
No, I didn't say special, I just said we did.
probably just.
I was just talking our supplemental fund there. It'd be on page 3.
Because it's. Page. That's in there.
Would have to go.
Oh, you got the other one, don't you, Mark? I printed out one of these. Did you not get one of
You did.
these?
I got it.
Yeah, I ran them together to keep Chad in line on, we're going in order by the department numbers.
So if you get to auditors, it should be under supplemental, page 6, 7. And right now it says election administration is $17,000.
I have $17,000 there for this year's. So I can add to that.
You just have to double it.
There should be a special, so, yeah, we can just,
I did not see a special, that's what you mentioned, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
must only have the city special.
Okay, so that would be 34,000. Following along with that one, Chad?
Page
Well,
7,
I'm, on page 6, I see the election administration and all the
Top on-
subdivisions of that.
But you have to
It's
go
on the
down
top of 7.
to supplemental, so we go to the top of 7, where it says 17,000.
17 grand even. So that's where you would plug in the election,
just.
extra costs and things.
Might as well get it at the desk there, Jake.
No, I just wanted something back.
Okay.
So go on down your list, Steve.
That's everything from the auditor's side of it we talked about. So we adjusted Heidi's salary to supplemental 95.5. She broke out those 3 salaries so we could see them, and then we're gonna bump that election, so. The next one was treasurer, and I didn't have anything under the treasurer. I think we all reviewed that, looked at it, and it was good. Unless anybody has any questions. And then sheriff, we had a couple of questions on him. I sent him an email. One was to follow up on the 13th deputy, if that person has actually been hired or in lieu or in process of being hired. And then I think the other question was, I had a question in reference to, he always lists out the jail income, what the expenses are, so we can take a look at that and see if there's actually a net on that somewhere along the line. Okay, anything else any questions on the sheriff? Okay, we didn't have any questions on the recorders. She's reducing manpower by 1 person and had a budget reduction. I did not have any questions on that one. I don't think anybody else did either.
I do have a question though on the attorney's office, because I only put what's going on in their office right now.
We're gonna put them on hold till we understand what's going on with an appointment and a special election. Because we don't feel like it would be correct for those folks to come in here and make a budget adjustment at this particular point.
I understand, but what I'm saying to you, that you guys, okay, so, right, you have you have 2 assistants over there right now. So what I'm saying is that I took out the other one, which is only shows Nicole's salary,
Mhm.
because that's what you guys asked me to do.
So how many employees are you showing over there right now? 3?
You only got 3 right now.
Is that what you're showing?
Which is fine at this point. We don't know what's gonna be over there
Well,
until we make a special.
We'll know
But
it.
you know that you're gonna have, if this person hires another person, you wanna,
You'll have to add that, at least another assistant salary.
We can, but
if you have assistant starting, or if this person that comes in doesn't want another assistant but needs another office person,
Yeah.
I only have 1 office person listed.
understand. And I think that the attorney's budget should be on hold until we make an appointment so we can talk to that person and understand what their direction is.
If that was within 2 weeks.
We still have that time. It's the only one left. That's the only one that's really in limbo.
Okay, let's keep going down, so.
We did
Do you expect an answer back from Rich then?
Yes, I do. In fact, he sent me just a little bit ago. So I think today or tomorrow we'll have an answer from him on those 2 questions, and I don't think they have a significant impact on what he's talking about from a budget perspective either way.
So my other
It's
thought,
not gonna change any numbers.
It's not gonna change any numbers, but
My
it gives us a
other-
little more visibility to what we're talking about.
my other thought is to possibly move maybe, the dispatchers, cause it's emergency services, to the supplemental as well. To give back a little bit more into the general.
But are we gonna need to do it this year? I don't know if we need
I
to.
don't know, we have to be down at $3.50 next year, so.
Next year. I thought it was 29.
You have to be in 28, fiscal year 28, you have to start at around your $3.50.
Almost impossible at this point, but okay.
Yeah, well, that's the state.
And they're having those discussions, that's not.
They may be having those discussions, but right now it's set in place, so the best practices is to move towards that $3.50.
If we can move them, that's fine by me. I think that's good. If we can, let's do that. Under the sheriff, where's that fall?
Looking for that number to be exact, it's underneath communications.
Mid part of page 18.
That's at the 332,000 number?
Mm-hmm. 1040.
And how much of that do you think that we can move?
Last year when that was being discussed, it was just on the south side of $300,000. Wasn't it, Mark?
Can I ask? So can you reduce the rural basic then without affecting your general supplemental?
No, I looked into that, we're good, cause there's no, we can move it out of general basic to put back more money into the general basic itself and move them to the supplemental, cause we thought about doing that.
But you're not affecting the levy rate then, because we can't.
It would affect the levy rate in the supplemental, cause there is no cap. And right now, what I gave them, if you look on that first sheet, that I gave you of the states,
This one?
yep.
You know what I'm asking?
We're capped at, we already have our levy rate for the.
So our
general.
our
It's already
supplemental
capped.
right now is
Correct.
3.24, and last year was 3.7. So,
Works
So it's
it
coming
out.
down.
and so
Okay.
we can add to that, there is no cap on the supplemental. And I double checked my source with the state,
So you can add to supplemental, but
Yes.
with reducing
but
the
only
basic.
certain services you can. And the communications, which is the dispatchers, are considered as emergency services.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was what, I just was remembering that.
Because I remember when we first started, you remember when it first started that, they started messing with the supplemental, well, we couldn't do it because at that time, we couldn't do it, but then I talked to Carrie Johnson with the state for the Department of Management, and she says there is no cap. I just recently talked to her,
On supplemental,
yes. Asked her if I could do that.
but we don't have to be at the max on our general basic.
Our max is
Well, they set it for us right now.
Correct.
So that's,
If
you weren't
reduce
here for that
462,
conversation.
Then you'd have to change stuff on supplemental, or you don't, okay.
No, we could just keep it at the $4.64, because that's what we're locked in at, Jake.
Okay.
So when we have to be at 350, we have to have some extra revenue, or they will.
Okay.
They understand that at the state level, it's a shell game right now.
Yeah, okay.
So did you have an estimate on how much of that we can move?
You can move, no, because this is the first time I brought it up to you, so.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a good plan if we can do it. You can just give us a number that we can work with.
I wouldn't think it
Yes,
would have
it's
changed much from last
right
year, I mean, we have a little difference in wages and that kind of thing, but.
Yeah, that's at 332.
We can come back to this one, and we'll make a note. If you could come up with a number that we could work with. Okay, so there's a possibility of moving dispatchers to supplemental. We just need $1 to work with, understand where we're at. Okay. We already went through the recorders, that was fine. Everybody's in agreement on that one. Planning and zoning would be the next one. And that was fine, other than with the rework page here. Nothing off my sheet for some reason. Okay. The next one was relief care of indigents. I don't think we had any changes, Mark, did you talk anything
No, I
about
think-
that?
You can't do anything on that.
Cause that's all given at this point.
Well,
Except for,
we haven't used everything by any means, like the funeral expense. I mean, a couple of years ago, we got close to it. So this year, we're showing that we're, have plenty of funds in there, but under a normal year, we had used up close to all of it.
so we're currently at 28,000.
Mm-hmm.
We always give money to the food bank, it's $1,500 every year.
So we're at 28,000 and we've been at 23,000 in expenditures and, so.
We need to review that.
we're at-
$1,500 to the food bank in reference to the other conversations with donations we've had with the assistant county attorney to make sure we're all in alignment with that.
The 1,500?
Yeah.
You know where that goes?
Yeah.
It allows all the other entities to get their food at reduced cost.
Matt, yeah, but we just need to make sure that we're aligned with that from that Paul Pate letter. Not saying I agree or disagree, just wanna make sure that we're covered.
Yeah, I have a hard time saying that isn't helping the indigent.
And we're leaving that at 28,000, right? You wanna cover all of the public health stuff now, or you wanna go back into secondary roads, which is next?
Got conservation, or that's.
Secondary roads, that was 20.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's a problem with them, do we?
Probably have a lot of problems.
Well, there might be problems.
Opportunities, maybe? No, we did not have any issues with the budget that was presented. At least not in my notes.
And the only thing, my next would be Veterans Affairs then.
Right. We had some questions in reference to that, and I think a couple of those was, needed more information on retirement date and the salaries that we're gonna allocate for both of those positions as a trainee and as a new person, right? Do you see us getting any more information on that from the board?
Give Jim a call, one way we get it.
That's the 32 grand, second line.
That's what you guys want me to put in there.
Yeah. Okay. The next one was conservation. The only thing we're waiting on there is an update from, the conservation folks on the revenue for ITC and potential tractor replacement, and I think, Jake, have you guys had that conversation yet with, Caleb on the tractor situation?
Yeah, he said the other day, it's just a matter of him time looking to schedule to try it out and see if it would work for them or not, and
Okay, so we haven't gotten any feedback on that, which is part of his budget. He had a seasonal staff person in there for roughly $20,000 summer. Is that, from a budget standpoint, it fell in line, but I just didn't know if you guys were all tied together on what he had put in there.
That has been, not always, but been somewhat past practices for him.
Okay. Cause there's a 14,400.
Caleb was one of those gentlemen when he was in school.
That did that?
Mhm.
Okay. And then it goes back to the ITC payment that it tied back into renovations that he had listed out for the building down there and maintenance and repairs. Cause they were both fairly significant, $40,000 and $45,000. And then a $40,000 allocation to rebuild the shed at Ketchum Switch. So those are the three things that I had noted on the conservation that we still need information on to follow up before we can make a final on the conservation budget. Chad, any questions on that? Other than that, I think we're good.
You know, the building out of conservation, the kitchen switch was gonna be utilized for storage. I mean, it's good to keep things under storage, but I mean, it's not that far of a commute. If they had to do it for a year or something, that wouldn't be a requirement, I wouldn't think, so.
And I think as long as he's got the budget for it, I just wanna make sure we understand where the money is coming from the ITC folks and how that's being allocated. Public health was the next one. The only question I had there, I don't know if you guys remember this, maybe Robin, but public health has a person retiring this year, right? Two?
Two of them.
Okay.
She told you that in
Miss
Meeting.
Robin Poole, I think, right?
She may have, I might have forgotten.
the Robin Poole and
Thank you.
Angie Rowe.
Angie Rome for sure.
Robin was also,
And she's gonna replace those? Both of those?
I thought
I thought we had a conversation, or maybe
she
you
said
had a
she was,
conversation.
I thought it was what the,
I thought she said they were,
Both of them?
as far as
what
I'm.
they're doing, yes.
Okay. Alright, and that takes care of the question I had in reference to that. So that one looks good. The next one was, Department 25, Human Services.
That's, we can't really touch that one. It came from
That's,
HHS as well.
that's HHS,
Understand?
that's a given.
That was pretty much written in. And then the next one, might as well cover those at the same time, mental health,
You have environmental health as well.
right? Any questions on those? I don't have anything on those. Did you have anything, Mark? on
Nope.
The only one thing we had, we talked about that public health is that $5,000 from that guy you're gonna have a conversation with, Dan Frenel or
And
Frenel.
I'm saying, we're just gonna eliminate that,
We're gonna eliminate that 5,000.
yeah.
I would go along with that. at this
For
point.
what? For what, Mark?
That $5,000, what used to be that ads money,
For the mental health, is that what you're talking about? Which is.
That was 25.
Libraries. So saying you get 6,215 is what they agreed upon, and the amount wasn't, you got some as well, okay? What about Hillsborough? Because Hillsborough got nothing, because that's where those funds are coming from, okay? Cause they were getting 3,435.
Okay.
it's actually 4,000 now, on that mental health.
We're gonna reduce that to 0.
What department is that? I found it.
60 or 61, right?
60.
It's 60, and you're gonna do what, Mark, I'm sorry, right
We're
there where it
not
says
gonna spend-
4,000?
We're not gonna spend that 4,000.
Get rid of it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, when they can't give us an answer,
yeah, it's just. It's been going on for how long?
Too long.
well, it used to be something, okay, well, we had our own levy.
Right.
Mhm.
Now that they have their own.
Now, if they have a levy,
And that's out of supplemental too, so.
we had, you don't have written down, medical examiner,
Yeah, it's a Department 28,
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put that in there.
it's in there.
And
No,
I-
I didn't. I understand.
Yeah, and I think it's fine, cause we're just over 50% a year and 50% expenditures.
That's pretty much on track.
And I know they had 3 this weekend.
Yeah. I got the reports. Let's see, expenses, department.
Okay.
60.
District court, it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, we didn't have any changes there. So, that looked fine.
And what about the county library?
Oh, I'm gonna,
For your per cap?
What do you got, Chad?
I'll
bring it up at the meeting too, but when we talked about the court officer, so. I mean,
Does that impact
it's
anything
not
you're doing?
budget, it's
No,
just
no,
a,
it's just informational.
Oh, okay. So then
Nice
getting on,
information.
getting on to the county libraries, Department 33, we made a fairly significant change there. Go ahead, what you got?
So, back on 60, there's nothing in that, nothing.
No.
I'm just letting you guys know that. Okay,
yeah, that would wipe.
cause
the
that
whole-
was my last
that would
one,
wipe the whole
4,000, but
thing.
I thought, she said they still didn't pay ads, I thought that's what she said, but I-
You would have to.
okay, okay, I took it out.
Okay, good. Okay. County libraries. We made that one significant change with Hillsborough closing, so
It's there.
we transferred 50% of those funds to Salem and 50% to Mount Pleasant.
Okay. I like that.
With the rationale, probably, Hillsborough people, utilizers of the library were probably not going to Winfield or Wayland to utilize the library. Probably more Mount Pleasant and Salem because of the geographic location of that, so.
I know they had a meeting, I think it was last night, at the town hall, whether to close it or not, they were getting public information. So, I haven't heard anything yet.
Make a note to follow up.
Cause they're not even open,
Yeah, they're not.
they're not even open.
Okay. Next one is, Department 51, which is the courthouse, which is
Tyler,
Tyler for the most part. The only thing that we had to change on in there was his salary based on the change in the job description, and I've talked to Paul, and he's gonna send us his job description, and we'll make some changes to that.
On that, do we have to have it, is it a written understanding, or should we have it in writing that we pay his license and he gets paid time off to go do the training he's required?
Wouldn't be any different than what we do, but
Anybody
Secondary
else?
roads.
That's what I'm saying, I would just wanna make
Yeah.
sure that it's an understanding, that, I only feel it's right.
or the nurses or anybody else.
You'd put that letter out that, pay grade 24 would be pretty compatible with.
That's what you guys were asking, like, wanted to know if I had anybody, and that's where our IRBM positions at, or assistants at, so there's some license requirements, and, our guys do their testing during work hours, and they code it accordingly.
We'll
For,
pay your testing and.
yeah, so it's not really paid time off, it's, they are
No,
working for the county,
yeah,
but they're
right.
getting their certs that they
So-
need to.
Understanding that they can do that during working hours.
I think if you cover, you can encompass that in your job description, I think, that.
Yeah, and that's why Paul's gonna send it to us, so we can revise that job description a little bit. Make sure it's all covered.
I wanna talk to you guys about Department 51 again, because I noticed right in Department 51, there's copy and fax supplies there.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be moved
I do too.
to
Got a note on that.
the IT.
But we have that note tied to every budget so that we can look at
But
in general.
when you say, this is what I wanna say to you, if you go back to the auditors, most of that, data and processing maintenance,
Mhm.
that's to our,
Solution
machines.
systems.
no, it's to our machines with Atkins,
Oh,
and we have to pay them for that. He has no idea about
Well,
what
no,
those
that's
are.
yeah.
So that's a
understandable.
given into the auditors.
Okay,
Also, I wanted to talk to you about postage that is in the courthouse in Department 51. Me and Kelly and the neighbor talking that I never get a bill on how much we use the machine, the postage meter in her office. We do, to me, going to buy stamps is also a part of an office supply. But that's the reason why I have that sitting at 25,000.
That's the postage meter that's in my office.
That's the posted meter that's in her office.
Mhm.
So that should stay there, and then we would eliminate some of the postage. Now, Kelly sends out certain things, so I won't touch that, and when it says postage on hers. And the 9,500 that I have listed for mail outs and postage, that's for the House File 718. That's where everybody gets all the levy, they know what their levies are gonna be. That, I'm leaving that. But that, cause that's through another company. Master's Touch.
So when you were talking about consolidating, like the supplies, and you said, well, that's where the postage meter comes in play. So all the departments use that postage meter and it comes out of that Fund 51. The postage that I use for mine is like for the tax statements and then the renewal notices.
So
I don't have any extra postage on mine because it comes out of 51.
Okay. Cause it should at that point, so everybody's
we
using
need
that
to
same one.
consolidate that down, no different than what we're doing with the copiers and the fax and supplies to the printers would be in IT. So I was gonna eliminate that.
Is any of your postage DOT type postage that really the county doesn't need to pay that postage, or?
So the money that, like every time you renew your vehicle, if it's through the mail, if it's one vehicle, we charge $1. That postage all goes back into general basic, which is where that postage is used out of general basic.
It's getting drawn out and put back in the
Yes.
same.
Yep.
So getting back to the conversation, and so the $8,000 that's going to that budget item should really get moved over to IT and get incorporated into that budget, as well as the next item that's paper shredding and recycling, which is $800, move that to IT.
No, that's when the shredders come here and we all take out, it's
Okay, so
courthouse
this
pays
is
for
one
that.
general fund for everybody, okay,
Yes.
alright. And then the next one was the postage and mailing, which was the one we just talked about, so that was, stay where it is, okay. That makes sense. Okay, any other questions on courthouse, Department 51?
So IT will get switched out, or that
That will go into the
will
IT.
go into the IT budget. The photocopy fax.
So if we're gonna do that, then we need to make sure that we're consistent across the board with everything else and all the other departments where we're moving things to IT.
But I'm gonna double check, cause some of those, like, for the postage, like, I think the county attorney does something a little bit different on the postage, sometimes like they have to get a special mail out, you know,
Certified or.
yeah, certified, just like the sheriff's department, so I'm gonna leave their postages alone.
And Brooks too.
Cause they have to go to the
We
courthouse,
don't come up here to use that at all either, so
so we'll leave theirs.
Do you have one of your own, or you just take your stuff to the post office, or?
we just buy stamps as we need them, so they just keep them in a kitty there that we have, and, or take them up to the post office, yeah.
Okay. Probably should continue with the consistency there.
I think if there's just separation, like from the sheriffs, it wouldn't make much sense for us to have to move around.
Yeah, makes sense, that's fine. Any other questions on 51? Okay. The next one, we already talked about mental health, the next one was
So you got data processing.
which one is that?
Which is, that's the IT.
Yeah. And I put that one on hold just because we're in the midst of trying to figure out how we're working with a secondary, IT person for support. I think we had that figured out, as of very recently. You guys said you're okay with, budget salary that Gunner put in there with the 50,000, cause the range was 50 to 60 for the additional IT assistant.
I told him.
So I put 60,000 because we don't know what we're gonna run into, unless he has an idea.
Let's
He's the one
just
who would
do
have
that
to
at
tell us.
60.
I don't.
Well, that came from you,
So if
I
they
see.
don't use
Yeah,
it, it goes back to
exactly.
the reserves.
correct.
That 60 grand is the upper range, so I don't know if we need to start at the upper range or not.
Okay, so the rest of that, then I think you probably need to take a look at, we just talked about moving that $8,000 from the courthouse to IT. That's just potentially the beginning of moving those dollars around a little bit, from those perspectives, from the IT perspective specifically. So are we gonna move all of those other items from other departments that exist from a data processing aspect?
If you want a true budget, yes, you'd have to.
I'd agree. Okay, so we need to take a look at all those other budgets and make sure that all of that is moved over to the IT side. And Gunnar can help with that. Any other questions on the IT? The only other thing we talked about was cell phones, but I think we're gonna fall okay and in line with that on page 2 in reference to where we're at with these phones and the savings that we're gonna see potentially from these phones and from Lisco. So I think that number's probably pretty close at 25,000 for the people that need those. And I think that's a discussion that everybody's gonna have today at 2 o'clock. Figure out who needs a cell phone, a mobile phone. Anything else, Mark or Chad?
Nope.
Department 52? Okay. Next one is juvenile probation, is that right? Department 61. Robin, you had mentioned something about moving this difference, $54,000 to supplemental
What are you talking
in this juvenile. Do you remember that conversation?
about? No, I wouldn't move juvenile to supplemental. I was talking about the communications for Rich's.
No, that two different conversation. This came up last week. We had a difference of $54,150 in that budget. And so the only question was on the supplemental expense side of that. And that was the difference from last year to this year. So all that really means is that we're not spending as much money, and so we have more money in supplemental at $54,150. Okay. The next one was.
Is it juvenile probation, and what are you talking about? It's already in supplemental.
No, what I was talking about was the difference. You calculated there's a $54,000 difference between last year and this year, so it's just a major reduction, right? In overall expense.
In the budgeting.
Yeah,
On what line item are you talking about?
the very bottom number that you have right there.
Oh, where it says 140,000 and then it says 90,000?
No, right there at the very bottom, the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget, the very bottom. Just a huge reduction in the expense. I just wanna make sure we're all clear with that, since it's fairly significant, probably 20 to 22%.
24.9.
24.9, there you go. Pretty significant.
But that's just a,
That's okay.
shoot, you
Yeah.
never know.
I understand, but it's fairly significant, so as long as we're all aware of it.
It could change on us.
Yeah, I mean. Cause the year before we used 10,000, almost 10,000 right there.
Okay, oh, well, we'll take.
We used 111,000 this year, that last year, but this year we've only used 21. Now again, this is only 7 months left that's not showing on here because this was December 5th.
No, I understand. Just wanna make sure
It's
we're
all
all
in-
in sync. So that's at 154, or 165,850 is the budget for that.
Right.
Rob, that question I had asked earlier, that I know I said it wasn't a high priority type thing, but the levy with emergency management.
It's on my list right here, Chad.
Yeah.
But the procedures to
But the
do that.
procedures to get it done, get it implemented,
Right.
I don't know how fast that could move, you know what I'm saying?
So if you wanna cover that now, since you brought it up?
I don't know much more about it other than, you know, the discussion was made and the question was asked on how that could be put in place.
70.
Cause it's $190,000.
I have to call the state council
Okay.
to make sure that this is something that we can do or not. But at the same time, I gotta know, cause I gotta have levies and I have to have, not know.
Okay, so the sooner you can find out, the better, and if we can take $190,000 out and levy for it, that would make a huge impact on the budget. And on the levy. On my list, that was the last thing on my list, by the way, but, we looked at county farm, that's a revenue side of things, expenditures are just property taxes for the most part.
It's
so-
only property tax that you
It's
see
kind of
for an
a wash right
expenditure.
there. Non-departmental, 00,
That's only transfers out.
those are transfers I don't understand, but I don't think there's any significant changes or differences unless you guys see something.
The secondary roads one is 1619, 1.6 million instead of 1.5. That is a significant change. That's what the roads
What
are.
page is that on?
That's based on the real basic,
Right, okay.
max, yeah.
3.00759. But she's right, that was a 2.6% change, so it went up.
Everything else stayed the
What do
same.
we do with the trustees? State level? Township trustees?
Is it gonna happen?
I put some talk about it this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about all of that stuff, right? From that perspective. The last thing I had on the list was Department 99 expenses. And the only comment I had is the same comment we talked about, and Mark and I've talked about, is doing a better breakdown of Department 99 and maybe reflecting what we see in the annual financial review rather than having a breakdown of Department 99 with all those general expenses, because it's about 22% of our overall budget, so a better breakdown would give us more clear visibility to the expenses as a whole, department by department and expense by expense. Anything else, Mark, for Chad?
Nope. I think it would be easier to look at, I guess, if you could know what it was.
It's on your paper. It explains exactly what it is. How
Understand.
that department tells you what you've spent.
Yeah, but that's.
If you guys don't understand, I could print off a report.
Or we could just use the pie graph. that
Or I could print
works
off a
really well,
report
right?
to tell you exactly what it's spent.
Why don't we just do it easy for everybody and create this pie graph and use what you see in the annual financial review where it's broken down, instead of having 17 items underneath the Department 99, that's 22% of our budget.
So what do you wanna do, Steve, exactly?
I would like to break Department 99 down
Right.
Like we see right
Have its
here.
own pie graph?
and have its own allocations by
Right.
line item or grouping, just like what we see in the annual financial review. So what we're seeing over here is a breakdown of those expenses rather than a conglomeration of all of those expenses into one large nondescript category. For example, you see there's county development, educational, fairs, libraries, representative services. Those are broken down a little more finitely than what we see today. And then when you look over here, you can very quickly see what those are, so if we have a question, we can find those, and we don't have to ask Robin to break them out for us. But again, that's in the annual financial review that you guys, you guys got a copy of that a couple weeks ago, right? And it's broken down pretty clearly. Did you submit that once a year, Robin? Okay.
Annual financial report that's sent to the state before January 1st, so that the county can get their tax money.
Other questions, you guys, on the budget? You wanna talk about the levy, where we're at? How we got there? Or is everybody good with that?
That's the treasurer's thing.
Shows the end results.
Can I ask one question on
Sure.
capital improvements? You were talking about that. So what are you guys budgeting on capital improvements?
They told me to take it off, Jake.
So there's 0 in there?
Yep.
Okay. Is that where, I guess my question was, Mark, is that where if you did any improvements, like on the facilities, is that where that's coming? Cause the last time it was out of roads as debt service. And just didn't know if that was like some of the unknowns that you're doing, or?
I think we should have a little more discussion on that, because obviously, to your point, capital improvements would be kind of a wide range of what we're talking about. Capital improvement could be right here in the courthouse, you know, we're talking about maybe reallocating some space.
So where would those funds come out of? That's what I was kinda curious about, like when we did debt service, it was obviously where that came from, right? I wasn't sure where you,
Well, yeah.
you guys, can you be flexible or that? What
We'd try
funds-
not to incur debt services for that, but we obviously need to take a look at it and see where we're gonna, how we're gonna allocate the funds if we do anything. Find what you need.
I'm just sorting.
Is that technically current, in this current fiscal year that we're in, there is a decent,
250,000 in.
yeah, there's a decent amount of money right now.
Not been used yet.
Would that cover the cost of some of the repairs that Kay would need?
Building down there and whatnot.
Well, I mean, it's repairing the current building that he's in, not necessarily the shed, but his building.
Are they gonna remove all that?
It's rough, I think, is what you mentioned, like, yeah, he had some of this rough.
He had
Roof,
mold and
siding
Siding.
windows.
something.
Where's the capital improvement stuff at?
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I can't find it. Where's that at, Robin?
It's
Capital-
on page 83,
Page 83 of
your budget.
this big one that you just gave
Yes,
us?
83.
I was looking for that little breakdown that Robin gave me.
I was looking for breakdown as well, but I didn't find it.
You made a copy of it too.
And then I have a question on that mental health fund balance as well. Are you gonna find out what to do with that money?
You have some in a special fund,
There's a balance in the fund for mental health.
you remember how much?
Didn't we say it was like 180?
That sounds right.
a third of the way down on the general ledger,
181,000.
something like that.
I thought that was all supposed to go back to
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the state.
I mean, I don't know if it's
When
my
all that was
business to
happening.
check into that.
We didn't get that, because I talked to the, state auditors. Auditor says that doesn't even sound right. And I had questions from other auditors in the state. It says that doesn't even make sense to me, why are we
Like
paying
give them
that?
that money.
They said they gave us a lump sum at the very beginning of what they didn't know what was gonna happen. And that was like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that. Well, then I had to report to them quarterly on what was used so that we can get a check back for like a wash. And they didn't pay their fourth quarter, but they asked us to pay them what was left over. You can't, we're not a bank. And I told the state auditors that, I said, so in a different fiscal year, they're wanting me to pay out this lump sum money, what is left? He says, that doesn't even make sense to me. So the state auditors said, I don't know, but there's a lot of other counties that didn't pay it either. Because when you guys handed that to Katie, you're disturbing the budget that she had to take care of as well. If you had to pay us $70,000 back.
Is that a conversation that can be tied in with Katie, with that Dan person, Finkel or Finkel?
No, because you guys just, that was in that fiscal year that they paid us that lump sum. Again, we're not a bank.
No, I understand what you're
And
saying.
nobody
I
else
just-
has reached out to me for that payment after I said this makes no sense to me why you're expecting me to pay you in a different budget year, fiscal year, to pay back what you overly paid, because you didn't know what was gonna happen.
Well, I'm not making the argument that it makes any sense.
It doesn't
I'm
make
not on
sense.
that side of that fence, so.
And my conversation is totally different from that. Mark and Katie are gonna have a conversation with a person from that group,
But that was like
That-
$4,000 or $5,000.
but
And that was way then,
should
so it's
give us some clarity
clear.
if you didn't bring it up.
What did Tammy Gillen ever say to you?
I don't know, she's hard to get a hold of, so hang on a second.
I can try her again.
Well, the thing is that we're not the only counties that didn't pay it back, because they said that it doesn't make sense.
As long as the county, the state auditors. okay.
And the state auditors told me when I called Jesse and Cole from the state auditors, they said that makes no sense at all.
Again, I'm not saying it makes sense. I was thinking that the state was gonna claw that back, except for a tiny little bit to cover some administrative costs and
They
things
already,
like
they already have.
that.
That's, all done.
That's
as
all
of,
that was,
as
you
of
guys all
Nov-
had to sign
As
off
of
on that.
November of last,
You
this
signed off.
past fall.
Yeah.
It was November, it wasn't first of December, it was November.
November.
Yeah.
Just checking in. You're good.
You guys also have the salary sheets too.
You do, yep, thank you.
You guys need to decide on what's gonna happen there too.
So looking at the salary sheets, we can do this if you or Heidi have this, or Talia, whoever has this, but looking at the difference at the sum total of a 3% versus a 5% over where we're at now, to see how much money that really incorporates. To make sure we understand how many dollars that we're dealing with, what kind of dollars we're dealing with. So there's,
I'm confused, cause you have it right here, so, I mean, I'm confused when you have the budgets, and you told me to go back and put all of what they're making.
okay, so
They're the
all
same,
I'm
because-
asking is that at the bottom of each one of these
Total line.
columns, what is the total? The very bottom. What those dollars add up to. So that we understand understand the difference between today's versus 3% versus 5%.
I'll have to ask her, cause she
That's
made
fine.
it, so it's on her, so.
Doesn't matter, if she wants, whoever she is can send it to me, I can do it, I don't really care, but I think we need to see what the differences are, and what the dollars add up to.
All we would need to know is just take the, for Rich's, the, 22, 83 total hours for the year?
28,
28, no.
Are you talking about-
the Deputies are 2286,
I think they're 22.
the other two.
I don't know what their hours are.
It's 43 hours a week, times 52,
2236.
2236. That's all we need to know, and everybody else is,
At 2080.
2080.
And you're talking on
I'm just-
diapers.
no, I'm talking salary, the hourly, how many hours they work.
Oh. Yeah, and all I was talking about was the sum total there, so we can see exactly what those dollars are,
Pretty well.
right here.
I understand that, or you just want to general and supplemental both?
Yeah, total dollars.
I think it would work, it could be done.
Because if we don't know what we're spending, we could get in the same situation that we're in with this other dollar expense, where we don't know if we're positive or negative.
A couple of years ago, it was calculated out where, if I remember the numbers right, we knew if we give a 1% raise, it was gonna be X amount of money, or a 2% raise, it was gonna be X amount of money. In total figure.
Well, that's what Mark was saying.
Yeah.
Right.
But Robin, on this sheet here, what you have estimated balances, where, did you put in what salary ranges, just the current?
The only one I have that is different is, Tyler's, cause you knew it was gonna be 5% in
But
veterans.
otherwise,
But it's
zero
all listed in, today's salaries are on there.
on there, okay, so
Okay.
we have a good idea,
Yeah.
yeah, very close. So really, all we'd have to do is take, what our expenditures were be, percentage wise, we could change those, we'll have a close estimate. Of
It's
what
probably
you're,
close
what
enough to
you're
get-
asking, Steve.
Yeah, close
Very
enough
close.
that we understand where we're at, yeah.
That would be,
That could-
we could
work
do
on
that, that's not hard,
Yeah, okay, we can work on that.
that's very simple, pretty simple to do that.
Okay. What else do we have? We need to talk about this whole capital improvement thing again? Or if we beat that up enough?
Only thing on the capital improvement, we have to go through, and those requests that we have, what we have to.
For capital improvements.
We'll have one Tuesday, Thursday, we've had the fair, old Reichers,
That's community betterment, right?
community betterment, yeah.
But I was mentioning capital,
Okay,
capital
excuse me,
improvement, sorry. But,
Excuse me on that.
yeah, so we probably need to think about what we wanna do from like capital improvement if we do anything here in the courthouse, if there's any money to do anything here in the courthouse. Yeah. So I don't know if 250,000
It's not free.
is right. Pardon?
It's not free.
Probably not, unfortunately. But it would be nice if it was, wouldn't it?
But technically, you actually are in the current budget, you have budgeted for that right now, so some of these
250,000.
things you could maybe work on.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. We have some time to do that. Okay, so to your point now, you had mentioned community betterment, so yeah, we need to put our community betterment together to understand exactly all of those requests that we get for donations. So, yeah, continue to work on that. And, What is that typically for those folks, 20,000?
For food.
Like Thursday when they're coming in, pizza,
It's usually 7,500.
7,500, okay. It varies by request, so I'll have to look those up, make sure. Cause that's what I was trying to keep track of down here, is all of this community betterment. Okay,
Then that would fall in place with this capital project that is underway too.
yeah, from tomorrow morning, yeah. At some point it will, for the capital improvement program for the community. But again, we need to know what we have for money so that we know what we can budget long-term.
Let me, we give to Main Street, we give to the chamber, we give to area economic development, we give to Old Thrashers. What else is on there? It's, we give to Main Street, but we don't do anything for Wayland, to my knowledge, do we? Or Winfield, or New London, the other communities, Salem, Hillsborough, Rome, there's nothing that goes out that other than the area economic development, they were all better.
You would hope, yeah.
That'd be the goal anyway. I mean, is it all centrally located? Or does it need to be more dispersed out? I'm asking, I'm not making a suggestion or anything, I'm just asking.
I know that's a good question. You're on the area development board, right? So maybe you could check with those folks and see what their perspective is. If it's just
I pretty much
this
know what
community.
the perspective is,
versus a more broad range.
Yeah.
Maybe that needs to be part of the conversation though, is we support the county, not just Mount Pleasant.
It's Wayland, I think, does a pretty swell job without outside work. It seems like they do pretty well up there. I'm just talking,
They don't represent on the board.
yeah.
Okay. Good discussion to have. Maybe you can visit with them again and then I'll get this updated with all of the community betterment dollars that we know that we're spending today. Make sure we understand what we have allocated versus what we have for income. I don't think that's changed over the last 2 or 3 years for community betterment, so that'll give us a pretty good feel. I think right now we had 260 something, right? Talk over in there.
That was based if you use the projections, if you use the
Right.
same dollar amounts in this current fiscal year for fiscal year 28, you have
Here.
roughly.
Carry it across. Okay. So our levy rate today is gonna be the 4.73529, right?
No.
For this coming year?
4.64
No,
for
4.64,
general.
64.
Oh, that's last year.
244.
Yeah. Hey, good.
Let me see.
That's probably the early
This
stuff.
is this year.
Yeah, 24, 25, 25, 26, right? Okay, kinda confusing.
On that Fund 99, on
Yep.
community betterment, it was code like 481, it's, other social services contributions, other government organizations. Did we ever figure out what those dollars are used for?
Other contributions and stuff.
It's 3410, it's the very first one. Fund
Yeah.
99.
I know what you're talking about. You look at it real quick.
That one's fluctuated a lot over the years, and I guess that's what I was just kind of curious what it was used for. Last couple of years, we've not used as much out of it.
The other contributions and stuff? Is that what you're,
Yeah,
yep, okay. So we used 5,000 last year, and are you talking about that?
no, it shows that in the current year, you've used 13,000.
Oh,
Last year, we used 86,000. Year before that, 24 was 114. 23 was 141. So it's been decreasing what we've been using out of it.
oh, this one. regional transit, that for 18,000. Is that one?
It says 3410 and then code 481.
481,
Mm-hmm.
does it have a project number of 62 behind the 99?
I have to look at my other sheets, right?
Because the one for 18,000, that's for the Regional Transit Authority. When you guys sit on that board?
I do. What's the dollar total, Jake, that we're looking at?
It was, and the current one, I think, is 185,000.
Well, that
We're
goes
not
to,
looking at the same thing.
Yeah, so community betterment, fund 31,000, the first line item.
right, $185,000. So we've only used 7% of that to date, so.
And it looks like it's been decreased. I just didn't know,
I'll take a look at it.
one note I had here was like mowing. I think when we do mowing, part of the ground you guys own and stuff, that reimbursement, I have a note there that came out of that.
Yeah, cause all it says is other social services, contributions, other government organizations. So that's part of what I was investigating as well, trying to figure out, cause it's all a community betterment, and that's what Mark and I were talking about, making sure we understand what those dollars are. Cause the next two, we pretty much know what those are.
Yeah,
Solid waste and solid waste, so.
and then your other ones are all listed below that as far as your fair and pressures. That one there, that was one I was curious about.
Yeah, it's a pretty significant amount of money.
Is that
So, if you can't find that, Robin, we can follow up
I
on
can
that.
find it. That's what we paid, like the Hershey Hall legal services for hours and premium, that's what me and you were discussing.
I can't find that
Renew
sheet.
Gov came out of there, extra support for our system, for our payroll systems, and accounting systems, we just say it like that.
So all of those,
Workspace, for auditor's office, is that
that was 40 some, right?
for,
The auditor's office workspace.
no, it's more than that. What'd you say it was?
Well, the total is 185,000, but I thought your remodeling your place, your office was 40 some thousand.
29,000.
So that's where you, sounds like maybe some capital improvement projects
Some
have
capital
been.
improvements can be
paid out of
taken
that.
out of the community betterment.
Okay. And that probably.
Great River Regional Waste came out Amen.
Can you give us a printout of that
About 35,000.
for Great River?
No, for the auditor's office,
30 total instead of 29.
probably about 35,000. Yeah, I can.
So maybe you can help me understand this one. If we're spending $35,000 out of the community betterment fund there for the office improvement, why would we have not gone to capital improvement with that?
I was told to pay it out of there.
Okay.
I can't. Here, I'll send it. I'll see what I'll send it.
That might be an okay thing, cause that's not going again, the way that's funded, it's not coming out of the general basic fund from that perspective, so I just didn't, that was my other question on the capital improvement fund, or, expense item, how is that funded, where do those dollars, does it come out of general basic, does it come out of community betterment, that's one of my questions that.
Well, 31,000, I thought community betterment was also, local
Yeah, so
option sales tax.
and I'm switching gears a little bit, so I'm not making it easy, but
No, it's
that
okay.
capital improvement fund that you have, that 250 that we zeroed out in the past or in this current year, where is those dollars being allocated from to fund that expense? Like, see if I'm saying that correctly, but does it come out of community betterment that's funded into those capital improvements? It is, okay.
Is it?
It's local option sales tax, whatever Kelly gets, it gets dispersed. I actually remember.
So it's
back in
funds
Lost goes into community
30,000.
betterment.
Where is 30,000? It's an expense, so I'm trying to figure out where those dollars. If it comes out of community betterment, then there's a way of cleaning up one of those two items, I guess is my point. So if they're both funded out of community betterment, then one of those items can be zeroed out. Yes or no?
Lost goes into community betterment.
Yeah, sorry.
Community betterment.
I don't know how.
But that's almost like 99% of that, right?
Yeah.
1.2 million, $1.3 million roughly is.
Yeah, the others
lost
are like
funds, and that's all
permits,
community betterment.
like permits that Joe does, or Russ permits. The community, the other one, not betterment. I got me confused. I'm not sure how the money goes in there. Is it on your taxes? Do you have a tax receipt down here?
Probably.
It's just projected
But
here, so when we get the money, it's there. I mean, that's just what happens. when
What
you
Jake
get
is
the
asking
bill.
though is how is it funded? How is the other one funded?
Oh, the capital project?
Yeah, the capital,
Fund 30,000, where do those dollars come from?
how is it funded? And that's
come
where
out
I'm
of general
saying,
basic, or does it come out of?
Cause that's 30,000.
I don't recall us doing any kind of a transfer from general basic to, I'm not sure.
I can look into that.
Well, I mean, I think if they're both community betterment funds, I think that's great, cause then it at least frees up a little bit of dollars, cause then you're
Yes.
saying you're fine doing either one, but it's just having that understanding of, you might have to track it down, but I think it'd be good to know if it's coming out of general basic, that frees up quite a bit of money.
Yes.
And in community betterment with the definition that it is, I don't think you're
I'll
out
go
of
look
line
at
on
the
that, they're just being
Thing to see what
Right.
comes out.
clear.
Yeah, I think that would be good to know.
Right.
This is what you just brought up, Robin?
Yep, there's 3 copies for you guys. This is what we've used in the past. That was all the way back to 23, so.
Did you get my message,
Been spent.
Steve? Did you get my message?
No, sorry.
I was responding to your email.
Oh, Well, we're still here and we did talk about it.
Pages.
So we'll catch up with you in just a minute then, if you don't mind. We can get that conversation finished.
We were talking about, Rich, possibly freeing up some money back to the general basic, and you remember that when you, Shelley and you guys had that conversation of possibly maybe moving communications out
Yep.
and putting it in the supplemental to free up some more money to the general basic.
Yes. Yeah, we can explore that again.
I think it was like 300 and,
That was more. 500, I think. It'd be almost the entire dispatch budget.
I wanted to say it was 3 something.
I thought it was 5.
no, he's talking about the entire communication budget, not just the salaries.
Not just the salaries, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Look it up
I
again.
think it was,
Is it
I think
1040? I think it's 1040.
I think it was
It's
500,000.
underneath that function of 1040 in Department 5.
Mark's not here, but is there any way that would fall into the emergency management scope of things?
You know,
That's
there's
what
a
it is.
bill in the legislature right now to mandate that,
But then,
to consolidate emergency management and 911.
yeah, cause then we could levy for that,
Uh-huh,
which would make a huge difference.
it would.
I'm gonna have to take your number back, call you back.
Okay.
Steve, I did look for them blueprints. I don't have them.
That's what you had, I got your message on that and Tyler was over there. We did fine.
I looked again this morning. I don't have them.
We did find this. This is kind of what's
Mary was
there
there.
today, but hey, which is fine. That's what we need.
That's today's
I think so.
layout.
Tyler found that. Hey, did we take a recess, Chad?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that.